Hello everyone, welcome back to You Decide. We're doing a little tweak on it this week. We've got Flav, who looks like a school teacher. Your own words.
This is not even my jumper.
Probably why you look like a school teacher. We're doing You Decide, we're doing it a little bit differently from now on. We're going to talk about some of the biggest questions of the week. I'm going to have 40 seconds to give my point of view. Flav's going to have 40 seconds to give his point of view. And then we'll have about a minute to discuss it. And then at the end of that, we want you guys, as ever, to decide using the poll cards. Is there any point in the League Cup anymore? Flav, you're going to go first. 40 seconds on the clock. Off you go.
The competition is completely devalued. No team in the Premier League or the Championship takes it seriously at all. They play weakened sides because they realise that actually getting to Wembley and winning it only really ends up in Europa League qualification. Can you imagine the impact on a Europa League campaign for anyone in the Championship? There is absolutely no reason for them to try and win this competition because it actually hinders the actual thing that's important to everyone, which is league form. Whether that's right or wrong is irrelevant. It's about the amount of money you get from finishing higher in the table, and a long run in the League Cup and then qualifying for the Europa League directly hinders you the next season.
That's pretty good. What was that? How many seconds was that?
38.
38. The League Cup is still very important, Flav, and your views are being slightly snobbish, I've got to say. There's big teams, yeah, okay, it feels like a bit of an inconvenience, but that's what it is, an inconvenience. And it's a choice. Just like playing, if you've got two big games in a week and you drop a couple of players because you've got a big team at the weekend, that's your choice to play a weakened team. Yes, it's a bit of, again, an inconvenience to the lesser teams in the Premier League as well as the bigger teams in the Premier League, maybe even Championship teams as well. But if you get rid of this League Cup, that means you're devaluing all the past winners. And football's not all about just the top teams winning everything. QPR have won it, Swindon have won it in the past, Wolves have won it in the past, Oxford United have won it in the past.
Time's up, James. Time's up.
A lot of teams have won it in the past.
Look, for fans, it's important because it enables you to go on European trips, which is, it's not just about the game itself. It's the.
So why do you want to get rid of it?
Because it's a pain in the arse, essentially.
To who?
From everybody, every club, every manager looks at this competition and thinks, I'd rather do without this. And that's just a fact.
That's not true.
But look at the game last night between Liverpool and Tottenham, right? Not a single player from both teams would start in their first 11.
So what?
Well, essentially you've got a situation where you throw players that are not ready to be in the limelight, in front of the cameras, having to play in this big competition. You go on Twitter, there were kids, like Josh Onoma last night, he had a bad game, really bad game, but he was being ripped limb from limb on Twitter. That's
part of professional football, so that's a great opportunity. Arsene Wenger's done it for years, loads of players, teams have done it for years. They get to blood all the youth. And here's a question for you, Flav. What's the last trophy that Spurs won?
League Cup.
And how was that day?
It was a great day.
It's a great day, Flav. So that's what it is. Football's about moments. And so those great days for Swansea, for Bradford City, who got beat 5-0 in that game, they don't happen if you don't have the League Cup.
There are logical arguments why it should stay, but if you ask most fans, it's an inconvenience. If you ask most managers, it's definitely an inconvenience.
But that's what we think. This is your opportunity to decide. Use the poll cards and decide if the League Cup should be disbanded and got rid of, or if it's still a beautiful trophy and competition and day out for a lot of fans. Let us know. Now, Jamie Vardy made it into the Ballon d'Or shortlist. Did he deserve to be on that shortlist? I'm going to go first this time. 40 seconds on the clock. Let's do this. Jamie Vardy should not have been on the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or. Yes, of course, he's had a great year, but I think people are getting a little bit carried away with the whole story that is Jamie Vardy. If we're looking at the 30 best players in the world, let's have it right, because it's not just Europe, it is the world. Jamie Vardy is not on that list. He was a crucial component to a well-oiled machine that won the league last year. And you guys saw that I loved that journey. I loved what Leicester did. I love that they won the Premier League. But he is not of the level of someone who should be on that shortlist.
Jamie Vardy should be on the shortlist. And that might sound contrary, but I genuinely do believe it. I don't think that it's a shortlist of the best players in the world. I think that might be the way it's sold. But for me, it's validation and recognition of Jamie Vardy's achievements. You look at Messi at Barcelona has everything. He is the best in the world because he's been developed in an environment where he has everything. Jamie Vardy has come from nowhere to grab his own glory, and for that, the recognition of being considered one of the top 30 players in the world, I think it's fair.
I think there's a couple of ways of looking at this.
Yeah.
And yeah, okay, he scored a hell of a lot of goals last season. But
28.
this year, it's very true, 28. But this year, he has struggled. He has struggled to keep that form going. And as a player, he's got incredible speed. But I think his finishing can be so-so at times. And I just think there's better players out there.
There are.
And better players in the Leicester team that are more deserving than him.
That's fair. That's fair. They should also be in there. I'm not saying they shouldn't. Kante should be in there. Mahrez is in there as well. Ronaldo, he's tipped to win the Ballon d'Or this year, which is crazy. But because essentially Portugal won.
You're not about to compare Ronaldo and Vardy, are you?
No, I'm about to. It's about the level of achievement. So he's won the Euros with Portugal. Jamie Vardy has also won the league with Leicester. There's no great accolade in Messi winning the league with Barcelona. They should be doing that every season by 20 points or whatever it is. Vardy had no right winning the league with Leicester. Leicester had no right winning the league, and they did it. For that alone, his recognition. He deserves a recognition. I
just think if you're going to not put in N'Golo Kante, who for me was the main man in that team, a team that, and it was a real team there, and I understand that you needed Vardy to stretch it, and he was crucial and scored a lot of goals, but N'Golo Kante was a much more important cog for me because he was two players in one. And if you're not going to have him in there, and you can have Vardy instead, there in itself is why Vardy shouldn't be in it, because you should swap those two out.
Defensive midfielders don't win Ballon d'Ors. That's just the way it is.
And that's another problem as well. The fact that he's a striker and he scores goals is there. It's quantitative. You can see that that's the reason why you're going to chuck him in there. But you've got to remember the players that keep you in games or win you the ball or create assists. And someone like N'Golo Kante is the guy who should have been there instead of Vardy.
It's irrelevant. So vote now. Let us know, should Jamie Vardy be in the top 30 shortlisted for the Ballon d'Or this year, or shouldn't he?
Next up, Jose Mourinho has been subject to a lot of ridicule this week, and some from Flav as well. In Social Club, he said that he can't be considered a top manager anymore. So has Jose Mourinho got the minerals to get it right at Man United? Flav, 40 seconds on the clock. Off you go.
I'd be amazed if Jose Mourinho lasts the season at Man United. They play probably the most boring brand of football that you could possibly expect. They've spent a huge amount of money. His ideas and philosophies don't fit in the modern game. He's had his time, as many great managers had before him, and I think it's slowly becoming apparent to a lot of people that he's out of his depth at this level. There's many young managers who understand the game better. You can't even do a simple thing like press.
Jose Mourinho is still a very good manager, and people are getting a little bit carried away with what's going on at Man United. Look, he's brought in a lot of decent players there, and they are individuals, but in time, Jose Mourinho, I think, will figure it out and get those guys playing well in their team. You've got people like Mkhitaryan to come back. He's probably the best player in the German league last year. Pogba, the best player in the Italian league. Ibrahimovic, the best player in the French league. He's gone out there. Yes, he's a guy who needs money to get it right, but he's able to go and get those players because he's got the charisma and the pulling power. Pressing is a huge part of football, and I understand the evolution of that, but Jose Mourinho is a winner, and he wouldn't mess about and not press just because it's a principle of it.
You said that he had Mkhitaryan, he's got Pogba, best player in Italy, Ibrahimovic, best player in France. Not sure all of that, any of those are true, but despite having all of this wealth of talent, he still goes to Liverpool and plays for a draw. You know, he's way. If he wins the league the way he wants to play football, then everyone should just give up. I mean, we're just essentially going to be a country that applauds defensive football because it's effective. The fact is that Mourinho isn't really effective anymore. He hasn't been for 18 months. In the last 18 months, he's had his job.
I'll give you that. He's on a bad run.
A bad run, 18 months.
He's on a bad run. But
he's got one of the biggest jobs in football after a bad run. He's now.
And why has he got that job?
Because he used to be great.
I think he still can be great with this team because it's a young team. It's a team that isn't playing very well at the moment. And yes, you're right. I was as disappointed as anyone to see the team that he put out first in the Liverpool game, then again in the Chelsea game. But the Chelsea game, if Smalling clears that ball away and after 30 seconds, you could have a different game there.
Good.
The Liverpool game, and if he goes and wins that game against Chelsea and gets a draw against Liverpool, that's smart. And that's the way that Mourinho has won trophies.
Right, I
Remember
understand.
That, won trophies.
You get in small instances, mistakes are relevant. In small time frames, mistakes are relevant because anyone can go through bad luck. 18 months isn't bad luck. 18 months an indicator that he's lost touch.
Yeah, but for a huge part of that, he wasn't even managing, was he? And you think, how can you become that bad a manager between a summer? Chelsea, he shows how well he did with that Chelsea team to get him to win the league the year before. Win the league. Remember that. And with a team that, as we saw, struggled afterwards. There's other things that obviously
struggled. The league title, he was 14th in the league. It's more than struggled. It's a complete capitulation.
It was a capitulation.
If the fish stinks, it stinks from the head.
And I think that was a poisonous situation that he got himself into.
Have you been impressed with Man United at all this season? Not once. No one has.
It's Fenerbahce. Look, it's not going well at the moment, but I also think there's the amplification of the fact that they've played Liverpool and Chelsea in 1 week. I think people are kind of waiting for that. Also, the pressure on Pogba is he's not dealing with it very well at the moment. And that's not something that Mourinho could have foreseen. I think they've got a decent run of games coming up. Apart from they've got Arsenal still to play. Look, see how nervy he is. His microphone's dropping. They've got some easy games coming up. They're going to get back on track.
Yeah.
And Mourinho will have a good year. I'm not saying they're going to win the league by no stretch, but to say that he's not a decent manager anymore is completely short-sighted. He will get it right. Will Jose Mourinho get it right? It's now a chance for you guys to decide. Vote in the poll cards right now. And let's move on to the final one, which is inspired by Great Touch for a Big Lad, which is my podcast. Go check it out. It's really good. And every year we have a trophy where we talk about the most disappointing players of the year. It's called the Lead Balloon de Pour. And we're going to give our nominations for this year's award.
Right.
Previous winners include Sean Wright-Phillips,
right.
Josie Altidore, and Adam Johnson last year.
Yeah.
So this year we're going to give a nominee each to the Lead Balloon de Pour shortlist.
Right.
Shall I go first? Do you want to go first? I'm going to go first. 40 seconds on the clock. Steve McLaren is my nominee for the Lead Balloon de Pour this year. This guy has been a massive disappointment. At Derby, he had a team that was far too good. At the start of the year, they were top of the league. They were certainly near top of the league. They didn't even make it into the playoffs. He somehow got a job at Newcastle, spent a load of money, so he got them all excited. Then they screwed up and he got them relegated. And we thought, well, at least that's enough of it. Then Derby fans have to deal with more disappointment because he goes and gets the job again. Madness. He's been an absolute disappointment everywhere he's gone and has to be the winner of the Lead Balloon de Pour this year.
I agree.
You agree?
Yeah, that was conclusive. I'm going to go for Ronaldo. Ronaldo, the favourite to win it, because ultimately, what did he actually do, Ronaldo? Right, he kind of Portugal slowly rolled their way to the final. He got injured in the final. The biggest moth you'd ever see in your life landed on his face. That's important. And and the fact is, when he got off the pitch, he then goes to manage next to the coach. His ego knows no bounds. He has no humility. And just this week, he tried to get his teammate's goal called offside because he didn't score it. A man like that shouldn't be allowed to win the Ballon d'Or. In fact, he should be chastised and he should be...
He's going past your time now. He should be given the Lead Balloon de Pour.
Lead Balloon de Pour. Ronaldo.
Why has Ronaldo been a disappointment? That was more just a rant of why you don't like him.
It's
been a disappointment?
No, because he's just a pain in the arse. He's the most irritating man on earth. And instead of everybody, the world, society looking at him and going, he deserves a little bit of his own kind of the kind of negativity that he perpetuates.
Right. I guess so. The disappointment with him is that you're not even sure, are you? Right. The disappointment you're saying with him in terms of him being a nominee is that he lets himself down. He's lacking humility, and that's disappointing.
That is disappointing.
That's disappointing. I get you.
Yeah, exactly. He's got a position to do great things, and instead, he's just a ponce.
And I guess also Champions League final. How did he get on? Disappointing. European Championships. How did he get on the final? Got injured. Disappointing. Did he chill out and just support his team? No, he became coach. Disappointing. No, I get it.
Did he try and get his teammates' goal and wish Real Madrid would have won offside? Called offside? Disappointing.
Yeah. I think that's a good shout.
Yeah.
That's a good nominee. Steve McLaren, he's got to be one of the favourites this year. Incredible disappointment from the man. His hair, disappointing.
Disappointing, yeah.
His demeanour, I think it gets to the point where, as human beings, you go, oh, he seems quite chipper and nice, and so we should maybe cut him some slack. And then he lets you down. It's disappointing.
Let us know. Who's your nominations for
Lead balloon de pour, yeah.
lead balloon d'Aplomb?
Lead, well, you can't say it, can you?
Well,
Lead
doesn't make any sense.
balloon.
That's why.
Craig, we'll spell this out in the edit. Lead balloon de pour. So it's like a lead balloon.
De pour.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Genius.
Is it?
Get your votes in. Who should be winning the lead balloon de pour out of Cristiano Ronaldo and Steve McLaren? And more importantly, let's know in the comments below, as Flav said, who would be your nomination for the lead balloon de pour. Make sure you vote on all the topics that we've spoken about this week. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like.
Yep.
If you enjoyed Flav's jumper, give it a like.
It's not mine.
And most importantly, go and subscribe to Ball Street. Because it's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's well good.
It's well good. Go subscribe to Ball Street.
Talking balls on Friday. You decide
Wednesday.
whether to watch it.
All right.